Imagine walking into a room full of people. Immediately you feel it, the pressure. You wonder if your clothes look right, if you're standing correctly, if people notice how nervous you are, if they're judging every word you say. Now here's the shocking part. Most of them aren't thinking about you at all. In fact, the prison you've been living in may not be built by other people. It may be built by your own imagination. And thousands of years ago, two very different philosophies discovered the same dangerous truth. The moment you stop needing approval, you become powerful. Today, we're going to uncover how the Stoics destroyed self-consciousness from the inside, and how Machiavellian thinkers used human psychology to gain confidence in any room they entered. By the end of this video, you'll see people differently, you'll see yourself differently, and you may never experience self-consciousness the same way again. If you've watched a few videos and you're enjoying the content, hit subscribe and join the community. There's a lot more coming, and I'd love to have you along for the journey. Now let's begin. Part 1. The Invisible Prison. There is an old story. A young man spends years worrying about what everyone thinks of him. He carefully chooses his words. He edits his personality. He changes his opinions depending on who is around. He becomes a professional actor in his own life. Then one day he realizes something disturbing. The people he was trying to impress were doing exactly the same thing. They were worried about themselves, not him. The average person walks through life trapped inside their own concerns, their appearance, their reputation, their future, their problems. Yet self-conscious people tend to believe they are the center of everyone's attention. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. We imagine a spotlight shining directly on us. But in reality, every person is standing under a spotlight they believe is shining on them. The Stoics understood this long before psychology existed. They observed that human suffering often comes from mistaken judgments rather than objective reality. You are not suffering because people are judging you. You are suffering because you imagine they are. And even if they are judging you, another Stoic insight changes everything. Their judgment belongs to them, not to you. Most people spend their lives trying to control the thoughts inside other people's heads. A task that is not only impossible, it is absurd. It's like trying to control the weather. The Stoics taught a simple distinction. There are things within your control, and there are things outside your control. Your actions are yours. Your character is yours. Your choices are yours. Other people's opinions are not. The moment you confuse these categories, anxiety begins. The moment you separate them, freedom begins. Part 2. Why you care so much about being judged. Let's go deeper. Why does self-consciousness feel so powerful? Because your brain believes social rejection is dangerous. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by the tribe could mean death. Humans evolved to care deeply about social approval. The problem is that your ancient brain is operating in a modern world. A stranger's opinion online can trigger the same emotional systems that once reacted to exile from a tribe. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference. This is where Stoicism offers an uncomfortable truth. You cannot eliminate fear. You can only stop obeying it. Many people believe confidence means feeling no fear. The Stoics disagreed. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action despite fear. Imagine two people giving a speech. One feels nervous and refuses to speak. The other feels nervous and speaks anyway. Both experienced fear. Only one exercised courage. This changes everything. Your goal is not to stop feeling self-conscious. Your goal is to stop serving self-consciousness. Because every time you obey it, it grows stronger. Every time you act despite it, it grows weaker. Like a muscle, confidence develops through repeated use, not repeated thinking. Part 3. The Machiavellian secret nobody talks about. Now let's shift perspectives. Stoicism teaches inner freedom. Machiavellian thinking teaches strategic perception. And here is one of the most powerful insights you can learn. People rarely see reality, they see signals. Think about it. When someone enters a room appearing calm, people assume confidence. When someone speaks slowly, people assume certainty. When someone seems comfortable with themselves, people assume competence. Whether these assumptions are accurate is often irrelevant. People respond to appearances first. This is not cynicism, it is observation. The self-conscious person constantly broadcasts uncertainty. They apologize before speaking. They seek permission to exist. They second-guess themselves publicly. They communicate weakness before anyone has judged them. Ironically, this creates the very impression they fear. Meanwhile, a strategically minded person understands something important. Confidence is often perceived before it is felt. Acting composed can create genuine composure. Standing tall changes internal state. Speaking clearly changes internal state. Holding eye contact changes internal state. The body influences the mind just as much as the mind influences the body. This is why some of the most confident-looking people you know are still afraid. They simply learned not to advertise their fear, and eventually that discipline transformed into genuine confidence. Part 4. The day everything changes. Imagine a king. Every morning he wakes up and asks, "What do my subjects think of me?" His entire emotional state depends on their answer. If they praise him, he feels good. If they criticize him, he feels terrible. Who is actually in control? The king or the crowd? The Stoics would say the crowd, because whoever controls your emotions controls you. This is the hidden tragedy of self-consciousness. You become emotionally outsourced. Your peace depends on strangers. Your confidence depends on approval. Your identity depends on external reactions. But the moment you stop asking for permission to value yourself, something remarkable happens. You become difficult to manipulate. Criticism no longer destroys you. Praise no longer intoxicates you. You become stable, not because people changed, because your source of validation changed. The Stoics called this inner sovereignty, a kingdom nobody can take from you. Part 5, the practical method. Let's turn this into action. The next time you enter a room and feel self-conscious, remember these 4 principles. First, shift attention outward. Self-consciousness is obsessive self-focus. Curiosity breaks it. Instead of asking, "How do I look?" ask, "What can I learn about these people?" Second, practice voluntary discomfort. Do small things that risk embarrassment. Ask a question, start a conversation, express an opinion. The goal is not success. The goal is proving that survival does not depend on approval. Third, separate action from outcome. You control effort. You do not control reactions. Judge yourself by what you did, not by how others responded. Fourth, stop performing. Most people are exhausted because they're acting, trying to appear perfect, trying to appear impressive, trying to appear interesting. Ironically, authenticity is often more attractive than performance. People trust what feels real, not what feels manufactured. There is a final lesson hidden beneath everything we've discussed. The self-conscious person believes freedom comes after approval. They think, when people accept me, then I'll be confident. But confidence has never worked that way. The people who appear most free are usually the people who stop negotiating with the crowd. The Stoics understood that your worth cannot be granted by others. And strategic thinkers understood that the less desperately you seek approval, the more respect you often receive. Not because people are magical, because independence is powerful. So the next time you feel everyone's eyes on you, remember this. Most people are busy worrying about themselves. Most judgments are temporary. Most fears never become reality. And even when criticism arrives, it cannot touch your character unless you allow it to. You don't need to win everyone's approval. You don't need to be admired by every person you meet. You don't need permission to exist. Walk into the room, speak your mind, Accept imperfection. Let people think what they think. Because the moment you stop living for the audience, you finally begin living for yourself. And that is where real confidence begins. If this video helped you see self-consciousness differently, hit like and subscribe for more insights on Stoicism, psychology, power, and self-mastery. And remember, the strongest person in the room is often the one who no longer needs the room's approval. Thank you.